It sucks. It really fucking sucks.
Well, that sucks.
I wanna love Shang-Chi.
It's Shang-Chi.
This is one of the first Asian-led superhero movies, if not the first, and I didn't love it. Hell, I barely liked it. I'm honestly surprised we got an Asian-led superhero flick this soon, when only 5 years ago we had the whitest white woman in existence playing the Ancient One. I wanted Shang-Chi to be good.
Shang.
Because not only do I want every movie I watch to be good, but also because this film is going to be incredibly important to an entire legion of people who now have a hero that looks like them. Shang-Chi.
Shang.
Shang.
Shang-Chi was a film that I was unironically looking forward to. This is mostly because I was hoping that Fin Fang Foom was gonna be the villain. Yeah, I love artsy dialogue with compelling drama, but you give me an evil talking dragon named fucking Fin Fang Foom, and my brain starts to go into sicko mode. I would literally give my left testicle for the MCU to give us Fin Fang Foom. Please, Kevin Feigster! You can have it, I'm never going to have sex, so I won't even need it. I rarely buy tickets in advance for things, but I had snagged one for Shang-Chi a week early for a Friday afternoon. I had spent the entire day of Friday thinking about my viewing of Shang-Chi, and to be honest, I'm still thinking about it. Honestly, I'm thinking about it constantly. And I'm recording this a week later, and I'm still thinking about it. This film is so close to working, but it's just so fucking messy, dude. Spoilers ahead for Shang-Chi and the legend of my rash that won't go away, even though 4 doctors have looked at it and my insurance refuses to cover it now. Here's the thing. Shang-Chi has several connecting relationships throughout the film. Shang and his sister, Shang and Awkwafina because God help me I cannot remember her character's name, Shang and his dad, Shang and his mom, and Shang and his auntie. If that seems like a lot to juggle, then yeah, you would be very correct. The film doesn't give us time to let these relationships breathe and change in a natural way because there are too many in the film. Let's take for example Awkwafina and Shang-Chi. There are 2 notable potential relationship changing moments, one early in the film and one towards the end of the second act. The first one being when Shang reveals that he's been lying about his identity and that he's suddenly leaving. I like her joining him in his journey without hesitation. It's a good way to show the audience their level of friendship, even though the film 5 or 10 minutes earlier needed to clunkily say that they've been friends for 10 years explicitly. The exposition delivery is a whole nother beast, so let's just stay on track. When this reveal happens, the anger is played as a joke, and I hate it. I fucking hate it, dude. You have a chance to establish some early dramatic weight with a beyond solid character actor in Awkwafina. I've seen The Farewell. She isn't just a cringe funny man like every popular movie wants her to be. She can act her ass off. Since we don't take time to develop this relationship-changing moment, it means nothing, so its inclusion is worthless. It's a bad inclusion. Everything in a film should add to the overall quality and narrative, and if it doesn't, 9 times out of 10, it shouldn't be in the film. The second moment is when Shang-Chi reveals he murdered his mom's killer, and what do we get from Awkwafina, who gave a performance that moved me to tears in The Farewell? Nothing! And it's not her fault. It's absolutely not her fault. It's the writer and director's fault for giving her nothing. Awkwafina's character is so bad in this movie, and it's just so sad to see. Marvel has this issue where they give their joke side characters, even just their side characters in general, nothing in terms of real relationship development, or just anything genuine or emotional. They entirely serve to build up the protagonist, and that's why no one ever says that Kat Denning or Michael Peña's characters are great. Have you ever thought about why we never see these characters in the team-up movies? Because in reality, deep down, even if audiences say they like these characters, they mean nothing, and the audience truly doesn't care about them. They don't stand on their own two legs, and often these characters not standing on their own two legs hurts the development of the protagonist, because it doesn't feel like genuine development. You have this cluster of relationships in Shang-Chi, and less than half of them have any meaning or care put behind them. And even then, the ones that mattered were rushed to hell because it was just too much for one movie. Like honestly, Shang-Chi's sister absolutely did not need to be in this movie. What does she add to the overall themes and narrative? She's mad at her brother for a bit, so much so that she literally beats the shit out of him. And to be honest, I'm low-key jealous of Simu Liu because I'd love to absolutely be pounded by her. Then, after she kicks the shit out of him, she goes to save him not even 5 minutes later. It feels like less than 2 minutes passes between her ditching them after beating the shit out of him and her literally saving him and his group from certain fucking death. Shang-Chi refuses to let these relationships breathe. They don't flow naturally. They all feel incredibly contorted and twisted for the sake of moving the plot along. A good movie focuses on gradual yet dynamic development. Shang-Chi is certainly dynamic with how the film has the relationships and relationship statuses change, but by God, is it the least gradual MCU film I've ever seen. We don't do an origin film for 5 years and we've somehow managed to go from getting our shit into the toilet to now failing to get it outside of our pants. There are moments where we are oozing with so much potential to write great dramatic dialogue with his sister and we just completely drop the ball. The relationship struggle with Shang-Chi abandoning his sister is so fucking interesting in theory, but it's just nothing. As someone who came from an abusive household and cut all ties with that household, which included my half-sister who was completely innocent because it was the only way I could escape, I'm a prime fucking candidate to be moved and filled with emotions for this topic. And what do I get? The briefest of fucking conversations and almost no digging into the raw emotions that can come from events like that. Again, as someone with personal experience with conversations like that, it's pretty fucking ripe for good drama, and it's also very unpleasant conversation. Would not recommend. This is a complete abject failure by execution. This film is absolutely carried by the ideas itself and the main cast giving solid performances with what they have. The film not only has a relationship problem, but it also has a breathing problem. When I'm talking about breathing, I'm referring to letting a scene and the emotion of the characters being explored fully without rushing or forcing things along. Shang-Chi absolutely loves to introduce some wonderful character ideas and potentially great scenes, but then absolutely shoot itself in the foot by letting that idea or scene sizzle out. One of the best scenes in recent cinematic history, maybe just in cinematic history period, is the scene in Hereditary where, spoilers, Charlie loses her fucking head while suffering from an allergic reaction. After she loses her head, we get a reaction shot from the driver, her brother, and any other director would let that shot sit for maybe 10 seconds at most. Not Ari Aster, that beautiful sexy man, he lets the camera sit on our actor for a full fucking minute. And it's beautiful. Now, we don't have to do anything like that in the MCU, specifically the part about children dying on screen. There are investors we have to consider, and I can't imagine they'd be down with that. But what we can do is allow scenes with great dramatic potential to fully play out and not be cut short for a gag or because the writers just got bored with the scene and wanted to move things along quickly. The biggest tragedy is the failure to focus on the relationship between father and son and mother. These elements are presented like they're the main points of interest, yet we rarely get to see these relationships unfold. One of the best scenes in the movie is when the Mandarin takes Shang-Chi to a seedy card game with the criminals who attack Shang's mom, and has him watch as he beats the tar out of their ass. It's fantastic. It serves a plot point, it shows the audience the dynamic between these two characters, and then we get to see how that event has shaped present Shang-Chi. But these moments in the film are few and far between. They're the most memorable parts for me, because I was invested in that relationship despite the film not giving me much to work with. I think the Mandarin is a really cool character with a great motivation in this film, but we rarely see him. We see a few flashbacks, one dinner scene, and then we see him again at the end of the movie. That's not enough time to develop a focused through line. The term through line implies it connects the film together, so it should be present consistently throughout the film. If your through line isn't present consistently, It's not much of a through line, and that gets me thinking about when Shang implied his mom wouldn't want to be with the man his father has become, lost in his grief, unleashing hell upon earth for the chance to reunite with his wife. This sort of dialogue is present in a lot of media, remarking on how a deceased person would be disgusted with how a person has evolved due to their death. What makes these lines so impactful and fantastic is that we get to know the relationship between the deceased and that person, and more importantly, we get to see that deceased person enough to know what kind of person they are. We rarely get to spend time with Shang's mom, and she had such a great potential as well. That scene where the Mango Man and Shang's mom meet in the funny forest for the first time was fantastic. You have this beautiful fight that's choreographed like a dance, and it shows their blossoming love as the fight itself blossoms. It's a fantastic scene, and we need more of that. Honestly, Marvel in general needs to learn from that scene. It's a fantastic way to deliver exposition, character growth, and build relationships while using very little words. I was honestly surprised to see such great visual storytelling when this universe has such a preoccupation of outright stating exposition as if the audience has the collective IQ of J.K. Rowling. That's my biggest issue with Shang-Chi. There are great scenes, but they don't connect enough. It feels way too segmented. There are too many relationships going on for the film to even have a chance at feeling connected. It's insane because they don't even nail the easiest relationship in the film, Shang and his father. Like, how do you fuck that up? I'll tell you how. Not enough time. Every relationship we've looked at just isn't given proper development because they wanted to do too much all at once. I won't even talk about the relationship between Shang and his aunt/village or the relationship between the sister and the father because I think it's only fair I flesh out my opinion on those two aspects as much as the film fleshes out its own opinion on those two aspects.
There's nothing here!
There are some smaller things that I had a hard time getting behind as well. The introduction of the Soul Suckers and the Dweller Below is honestly pretty cool. It feels a bit Lovecraftian and introduces a new flavor to the MCU that we have not seen before. However, introducing them in only the third act shows a complete lack of knowledge on what makes Lovecraftian shit so awesome. I don't even mind that they show the creatures. I get it. Certain compromises have to be made. What I don't understand is only introducing them in the third act. They are literally not even mentioned until the third act, and I find that baffling. You can do a reveal villain, but they have to be properly introduced in some way at the start. Take, for example, Agatha Harkness in WandaVision. She's right there from the very beginning, and we can get the sense that something isn't quite right with her. We don't need to be told that she's a villain in episode 1, but we at the very least get to spend some time with her, which makes the reveal somewhat satisfying. We need to learn about the Soul Suckers and the Dweller Below before we get to the village. We need to feel their presence in some way, or at the very least have their existence hinted at. I honestly can't get over at how they are introduced so fucking suddenly and so late into the film. Honestly, they're a pretty adept comparison for how everything else in this film is treated. Introduced suddenly and not given enough time to be fleshed out properly. The biggest shame is that there is a lot about Shang-Chi that I truly appreciated. I absolutely adored the fight choreography, and it was often used to convey emotions and tell the story. I'm not even referring to the fight between Shang-Chi's mom and the Mandarin Man. The choreography is spectacular throughout. I absolutely adore how they use the rings in this movie. I thought it was gonna be a thing where each ring has a different power and they spend 30 minutes explaining how the 8th ring jerks your opponent off at supersonic speeds, forcing them to come splode. I like that the rings are just like going Super Saiyan and are basically a high-level power increase. We don't need any fancy shit. They can just kinda do cool shit, and they don't really have any powers beyond that. I also love how Mandarin has become less reliant on the rings, and you can see that in his fighting style. He's been around for hundreds of years, and he's an excellent martial artist in his own right. And the movie takes time to show that, and I love it. I think Shang-Chi is a very interesting character conceptually, and despite my feelings about the execution, I have to admit that in theory, he would be incredibly compelling if done right. I think Simu Liu acts his ass off compared to everyone else, and he has the potential to have great charisma with other characters. I only say potential because it's hard to have chemistry with someone like Awkwafina's character because that character just fucking sucks, man. I can't say anything beyond, she just fucking sucks. She's so bad, dude. And I love Awkwafina, man. I can't get any further into detail, Vishon, because she just fucking sucks. She just sucks. I'm so tired of these fucking MCU characters, man. I'm going off fucking script, dude. I'm so fucking tired of these cat-denning Michael Pena fucking asses that are just nothing. They're nothing. And they're not good. And I don't laugh. Not funny. Didn't laugh. I'm not keeping that. Sam, don't keep that in. I'm just losing my fucking mind. Or do I? I don't know, man. I'm just fucking losing it.
Nothing makes fucking sense. Life makes no sense. You're on a planet right now. You think you're in America? Zoom out.
Currently, we have fan favorites in Spider-Man and Scarlet Witch, but Shang-Chi is honestly going to be a sleeper character that will get some proper love at some point. Mark my words, if I'm wrong in 5 years, you can stop me in public and force me to drink skim milk. I would never leave my fate up to chance, especially when it concerns drinking skim milk, so that means I'm completely confident in my opinion. I'm currently on a diet right now and I've lost 20 pounds, and I'd rather drink horse piss than touch a mug of skim milk. I don't care how many calories and fat are being saved. Fuck you if you like that shit. My overall thoughts on Shang-Chi are mixed. I love the ideas and some of the things they were trying, but unfortunately it was just too much and things did not get fleshed out properly. I'm hoping the sequel really narrows itself to a specific focus and explores that focus thoroughly. I'm really sad that I didn't like Shang-Chi more. I'm giving Shang-Chi a light 5 out of 10. It's almost a 4. I wish I could have enjoyed my experience more. I might go watch it again, but that's what my opinion is right now. While you're sitting here debating on whether you want to watch another video with my sexy, handsome voice, I do have a question for all of you. I'm currently debating on 2 retrospective ideas, one being a Star Wars retrospective and one being a DreamWorks retrospective. If either of those interest you, if you have a preference to one of them, please let me know in the comments, because I honestly can't decide right now. I want to dig into both of them, and I just kind of need some feedback here. I need some help. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please make sure to subscribe, check out some videos in the end card, and have a wonderful day.